So Sharon, tell me about some of the typical situations that an HR generalist might find themselves faced with.
Well, I think every week is different in the world of HR. One moment you might be dealing with an employee who's got a grievance perhaps, something's happened in the workplace that they're not happy about, maybe they've made a complaint or lodged a formal grievance. In that case, you need to obviously respond to it, you need to investigate it, and that involves speaking with the individual, speaking with the manager, speaking with anyone that's been involved in that particular situation. Another week you might be dealing with salary increases. Each year you'll have an annual salary round, so that will involve making sure there are guidelines in place to communicate how the salary reviews are awarded. Maybe having some tough conversations with managers about how you distinguish between who's going to get a higher increase, who's going to get a lower increase. Do you give everyone the same increase? What's the fair thing in the situation? What else? What was the third? Another thing that will come up in HR, of course, is how you feedback to people, how you give them feedback on their performance. So generally you have an annual appraisal program, and that will involve preparing staff and preparing managers to go through that feedback process. So the training people might run training courses, for example, to help managers to go through the appraisal process, to give feedback on performance and to help employees to understand what's expected of them in the process and to be able to be it.
If you were recruiting for someone to join your team in an HR department, what kind of person would you look for as a graduate or as an administrator?
There are a couple of things I think are really important for new HR team members. Certainly a real interest in HR is a great start, and I'd like people to have done a bit of research into what HR is, maybe if they can have done a placement in an organisation, in an HR team, or even just spoken to someone who works in HR to find out what it's really all about and whether or not they think it's for them. Certainly people who can bring a bit of initiative to the table, so someone who can show that they can problem solve ideas, they can come up with new solutions to problems is a great start. Definitely you want someone with great communication skills, that's both written and verbal communication, so people who can express themselves clearly, because of course in HR you're dealing with people all the time, every day you're dealing on the phone, in person, by email, with managers, with employees, so you need to be able to communicate well both verbally and in writing.
Okay. So if I were to ask you to identify for you the one big plus and the one perhaps negative about the career, what would you identify?
The plus is there's lots of variety, lots of challenge. You get close to the business, you get to know what's going on, and every day is different. There's a huge amount of variety in HR. In terms of the negative, I think HR gets involved in some tough and unpleasant discussions sometimes. So as part of any organisation, there will be times when people leave the organisation